Hello students and welcome back. It is week 11 and this week we are focused on planning for our PBL WebQuest. And to that end, this Prezi is established for you to consider a couple of ideas, a couple of cycles as you'll see right here that will take you through some considerations as you continue planning and constructing your PBL WebQuest. Now, remember, this week to focus on planning. Plan. Get it done. This PBL WebQuest requires very strong planning to execute well. You need to make sure you know your content standards, your ISTE standards. You need to make sure you have everything planned out, storyboarded out, so you know how to construct your WebQuest in whatever program you decide to construct it in. One of the strongest elements to a gold standard PBL, one of the most important characteristics of a inquiry-based WebQuest is planning. It starts with you, the teacher, constructing that environment and requires you to scaffold the learning for the students through your planning document. Is the content you've chosen strong enough to support inquiry? Now's the time to step away and to really think, do I continue with what I have or do I restart it? Here in front of you are two tools. There are two cycles that help us focus on creating a gold standard PBL according to the BIE. Essential Project Design Elements and Essential Project-Based Teaching Practices. And so we're going to go around these circles, these cycles, but note in the middle, key knowledge, understanding, and success skills. The content, what you want the students to know and learn and explain and perceive and understand must be at the heart. Content first, then pedagogy, then technology. And the first one, it gets a little blurry, but challenging problem or a question. Is your question compelling? Is there only one answer? Is it too easy? You need to step back and make sure it's an open-ended, essential question. A question we can ask year after year that allows the students to truly seek and find their own way through answering that question. It's a true challenge to the students. Because it's open-ended, because it's a messy question, it lends itself to sustained inquiry. The ability for students to spend time engaging and asking questions, developing new questions, seeking out the evidence and the information they need to solve the problem, create the product, or perform the task that you're asking them to perform. Students should need to spend quality time engaging in seeking out answers because what they're doing should be authentic. The answer is not just a book report. It's not just a research paper. It's not something that's just written for no reason. The authentic product that they're creating, the authentic answer, the problem, if it is a challenging problem, if it is sustained inquiry, it should be authentic. What they're doing is something they would do outside of the classroom. It's a product, it's a task that's deeply connected to the role that you assign them when you give them the problem, the compelling question. It's more than just a multiple choice test or a quiz or even an essay, because you're giving students voice and choice. This voice and this choice is so essential in project-based learning. This voice and choice is so essential in a WebQuest. Students have to be able to select and they have to be able to express in their own ways how they are learning, what they are learning, and they need to be able to reflect as well. You should be reflecting, but so should your students. Throughout this entire cycle, are you giving them a chance in the WebQuest to reflect on what they're finding? Are you giving them a chance to think about how and what and in what way that voice and choice will become known? Give them a chance to reflect in the process so that they can critique each other, critique themselves, and revise. Allow revisions. This is where you can give feedback Do you have a chance? Do they submit something to you for critique and for revision? Do they have a chance to fix what they're doing? You want to make sure you're building that in. That's a scaffolded approach to inquiry before they finally produce that public product. The product, again, it's not just a quiz or a test or a paper for you. You are not and should not be the only audience. The students should seek to produce a public product for a public audience. And again, that goes back to the authenticity of what they're doing and the sustained inquiry into the compelling question. That public product needs to be the result of you giving students the ability to critique and revise. What is our purpose as educators? Are we here to punish students with grades, or are we working to develop their understandings? Are we working to develop their abilities to learn and to perform skills? Think about the way I allow you to go back and redo your assignments. The idea here is not punishment. You allow that critique and that revision so that that public product is the result of students' true learning. It's not just something they do and they're done with it. It's honestly never ending. The whole idea of inquiry is this never-ending cycle. That's why when you look at this, it's all interconnected and it continues to go around and around. This is not a process that absolutely ends, and that should be one of the conclusions you help the students understand, is inquiry is an ongoing process. Really, the results of most inquiry are new questions. So now that we've addressed this gold standard PBL design elements, what goes into the design, let's think a little bit about your approach to that design and consider your planning process, what you've been working on. You're designing and you're planning. Are you aligning to the standards? Are you building that culture in the classroom? Are you creating the context? Are you giving students roles? Is the task authentic? How are you going to manage the activities online for the students and within the WebQuest scaffold that process? That's where the Big Six or the Super 3 come in, scaffolding that student learning. How are you going to assess student learning? We'll build a rubric next week. And then how are you engaging and coaching the students throughout the entire process? So think about how you're approaching the planning. Are you conducting yourself in these project-based teaching practices? And remember, content leads to pedagogy, leads to technology. Everything should be rooted in the content. We want students to learn. They're learning content skills, they're learning questioning, they're learning how to be citizens in all content and grade levels. From that, we know the best way to teach it, and that's the pedagogy, and then how does technology emerge? Now, a couple of points to make. These are important. This is a major project. You must have a full planning document. Follow that guideline to the letter. There is an assignment guide. Please follow it. It's step by step. It tells you what we need to see. I need to see those standards, content and ISTE standards. I need that storyboard. I need anything that you do to plan this out. I also need it to be a substantial reflection. I expect to see articles that we've been reading, the online journals and blogs. Anything we've been reading is fair game, from the first word, last word discussion posts. Please make sure your reflection is substantial. Cite what you are reading. Cite what you're using to support your ideas. Make sure you complete a full planning document and a substantial reflection when you're done. And remember, because this is a major project, not only are you planning and reflecting, not only are you creating the WebQuest itself, you must complete the WebQuest as if you were a student. So you need to have examples of student work. If the WebQuest asks students to complete a concept map, you have to complete a concept map. If the WebQuest asks students to create an infographic, you must create the infographic. And so you will submit a planning document and a reflection document. You will submit the link to the WebQuest itself, and you will submit examples of students' work from a completed web quest. Students, good luck with your planning and creation this week. Good luck, and if you have any questions, let me know. Please go to the rest of the learning module, and let's get this week going.